Stay tuned for today's episode of Breaking the Biz, an informative podcast where we dive into the world of entertainment by interviewing seasoned professionals who have made their mark in the industry. Gain invaluable insights as they share their personal journeys, offering advice on navigating the dynamic landscape of the entertainment industry. Whether you're an aspiring actor, musician, filmmaker, author, animator, or any creative soul, tune in for expert career guidance, insider tips, and first-hand accounts on breaking into the entertainment industry. Get ready to unlock the secrets behind successful careers and fuel your own passion for the limelight. Please remember to like this video and to subscribe to our channels for more great conversations.
Greetings from Breaking the Biz, brought to you by Yes I Can Unity through Music and Education. I'm William Felber, your navigator through the intriguing universe of the entertainment industry, as revealed by the visionaries and creators who bring it to life. Stay tuned as we delve into diverse insights from the forefront of entertainment, hearing from pioneers, creators, and agents of change. Prepare for a journey filled with tales of innovation, resilience, and the undying quest for artistic brilliance.
Welcome to Breaking the Biz podcast with the Yes I Can crew. We've got a great guest with us. We have Daniella McBride, who is the head of creator partnerships for CreatorForce. She specializes practice for creators and creator brands, working alongside the sales and leadership team. She forges partnerships for the creator and celebrity brand sector. Takes pride in creating opportunities for CreatorForce as the go-to hub for building creator brand incubation companies by leveraging ForceBrands' full site of end-to-end hiring solutions. She brings more than 10 years of experience in the entertainment industry to her role. Previously working alongside some of the most influential agents, managers, investors, founders, celebrities, influencers, and talent in the consumer brand space. She began her career in an unscripted casting and development for reality TV and documentaries for Evolution Media and produced companies that worked with networks like Bravo, ABC Family, Fox, and many others. While casting, she saw a wave in digital influencer space and wanted to be part of it. That's how you do it. You jump in right as it's about to blow. She works at a multi-channel network called Fullscreen, where she casted 2 SVOD shows before working in-house as talent scout, signing YouTube creators and influencers onto the platform. Prior to joining Force, Daniella was the vice president of talent and partnership with Twyla True Collaborations, where she initially ran with a team of 360 brand incubation company, sourcing celebrities and talent who were interested in creating their own consumer brands. Some of the brands she helped create were in categories that included fragrance, skincare, grooming, pet food, apparel, and many others. She managed communication between talent and the internal product development team from inspiration to its final launch. Among some of her professional accomplishments, she's won a Webby Award for casting House Divided with Fullscreen. She's casted for includes Botched, ABC's Family, Monica in the Medium. And during her career, she's created more than 10 plus consumer brands within a 2-year period. You do a lot of cool stuff. So thank you, Daniella, for making time for us.
Thank you for having me. And that was such a great intro.
Awesome. I love it. I want to hear, when you were a young girl, what was the dream job? When you said, when I grow up, I'm going to be?
I think when I was younger, I always thought I was going to be an actress. And I always thought I wanted to be winning an Academy Award one day, being in film and television. So I think that was like my dreams when I was little, which is funny now that I'm an adult. It kind of transitioned into the business side of the entertainment side, which is great as well.
So when you were in high school, theater, drama, what was your calling?
Yeah, I always was in performing arts. I always was in theater. I did a lot of acting. I was in choir. And then I, had a lot of fun just participating in any of the performing arts volunteer, or if it was after school programs, things like that.
Okay. And talk me through education. When you were leaving high school, what did what were you thinking you were going to study? What did you want to do at that point?
Yeah, so when I graduated high school, I think you're just excited for the next chapter in your life. And for me, it was, where did I want to go? I grew up in San Francisco Bay Area. So for me, I wanted to see a different part of California and experience Southern California. So I had the chance to actually I went to school at Santa Barbara City College for 2 years, and then I transferred to Long Beach State University. My major was communication studies because I thought, maybe I wanted to get into broadcasting and focus in that field and learn more about that world.
So once you graduate college, what's the first job?
You know what? That's such a good question. Let me remember. So actually, one of my first jobs was in San Francisco after I graduated. I found this really cool opportunity to cast for a reality TV show on VH1. And it was like a posting online, and I met the team, and it was a contract job. So it was like just during the show, but my goal was to go out and find a specific cast of real people for the show. So that was my first initial entry into my first job. I did a lot of fun internships though when I was in college in the entertainment space.
Talk me through some of those internships.
Yeah, so my first internship was with Entertainment Tonight on the CBS set. So I actually got to intern on set while they were doing the show, where it was Entertainment Tonight. So I got to see all the hosts and the background of the producers and be on the set on CBS in Studio City. So I had a lot of great experience doing that. And then I also I got to intern with Ryan Seacrest Productions. I was actually Ryan Seacrest's first intern, I remember. And I worked alongside a lot of his assistants and his team, as a lot of people don't know about Ryan beyond being a TV host. He actually produces a lot of shows, and he has a production house. So it was fun to just see the behind scenes of it all.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, one of the original producers of Kardashians?
Yeah.
So you definitely got to see reality television in full effect.
Yep, 100%.
Okay. So from that, then you go into casting and finding the VH1. That's just like an advertisement online. Where did you find that?
Yeah, I mean, so I graduated college in 2010. So for me, yeah, it was at that time, it was finding it online. Someone had posted they were looking for a casting intern. And then after that, I actually, after I did some casting, I had an opportunity to help Lieberman Productions, which was Guthrie Ranker's production house for Meaningful Beauty and Proactive. And I started doing global infomercials and casting of like real people who use the products. So that was like one of my first like full real jobs that I started when I was after college.
It's fascinating because your trajectory, you're working with the products, you're working behind the scenes with production, you're working with the EE entertainment and the celebrities. And it's, it leads us to where, we'll get there in a second, but that's exactly what you're doing. It's fantastic to see how the jobs build off of each other and how opportunities come from the background and the experience of all those different jobs. Your internships, was that linked up through the college, or was that you working them yourself?
So I applied on my own, but through Long Beach State, I was able to get credit with the school for interning.
Okay. Love it. Yeah. So after casting, what's your next move?
So funny. I actually briefly, I don't know if this is a part of the story I guess it is part of my story of my career. I actually ended up being on a reality TV show. I ended up being on ABC's The Bachelor when I was 24. And I got to see how it is to actually be on the show as a contestant. So for me, I did that. After the global infomercials of casting, I actually ended up being on the show. So that was just a fun experience in the chapter of my life. Learned a lot about reality TV, actually being a person on it, but then as well, like knowing the behind scenes of it all.
You really get the full experience. You know, that's 360 for sure. So
Yeah.
what is it like being on The Bachelor? Do they get you guys just liquored up all day long?
Yeah, I would say yes. They want you to feel comfortable, be open, share as much information as you can. They want drama on the show, of course. So they know how to put you in those situations.
Okay, I love it. Create a little drama, a little alcohol, a little drama. I love it. So, and that was you. Did a casting director find you for that, or was that through?
Yeah. Well, that one I applied for as well, but it was through a casting process that I went through. And then I did that. And then I decided after the show I wanted to be in LA and to pursue more of my entertainment career.
Okay. So after The Bachelor, what comes next?
I actually ended up getting back into casting, and I started doing casting with Evolution Media, which does a lot of reality TV shows like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Botched on E, and a lot of really good Vanderpump Rules. And I was helping do a lot of development casting with the executives as well as the casting directors behind it. So I learned a lot. And I worked with Evolution for probably about 3 years or so. And then I would do contract show to show castings of different projects.
Okay. And one thing I want to point out is when you are in the entertainment industry, it is very much gig oriented, meaning, you know, you work a show and then once that show's done, you have to network to find what's next. You know, if you're obviously a great person to work with, you know, people are working and spreading your name in a positive way in other rooms to open up opportunities, but you have to kind of think what's the next gig while you're currently working your current gig. And is that, would you say that's pretty right on?
100%, Brett. Yeah. I think the one thing a lot of people don't know about the entertainment industry is that, when you are working in it, if it's production or if you're a producer or if you're behind the scenes casting, it is usually show to show unless you are in-house at a production company. Otherwise, you're really, you know, freelancing, meaning you have to find your next project each time. Yeah.
Okay. So after you do that, you're casting, you do 3 years, you're dealing with executives behind the scene. You've been on a show, you know, the reality.
Yeah.
You know, what comes next?
Yeah. So I did casting for reality TV for probably about 5 years. And then after that, I decided I saw a wave in social media and I saw that the world was changing a lot from it. And there were starting to be influencers and content creators and YouTubers, and I wanted to be part of it. So I had an opportunity to work at Fullscreen, which is a multi-channel network. And what my job was to be more of like a talent scout. So I would source YouTube channels and YouTubers that I think would be good to be part of our network, where we would present them more brand opportunities, or they would be part of the multi-channel network and get all the perks from being with them. So I did that for a while, learned a lot about the influencer content creator world.
It's crazy to me because I remember, you know, whenever anyone says, oh, I want to be in the entertainment industry, everyone's always like, well, how about you be the lawyer or, you know, be a doctor, you know, like, or the starving artist. And I can remember at one point people saying, I want to be an influencer, I want to be a YouTuber, right. And just kind of going like, think about a real job. And then we had a guest speaker last week who was talking about Ryan's World, the little kid, and like, you know, making $300 million a year. And it's just like, what? How? Like, so there's definitely money there. And you saw that.
Yes. And I think, like you said at the beginning, I did cast a couple shows from them. They were starting an SVOD platform, which is similar to like a Netflix or a Hulu, and wanted to create that. So I did help cast them at the beginning for that. But then I mentioned, I saw that change. Like I wanted to be part of it. Like what was the YouTube world? What was the content creator world? Instagram was booming. So, you know, that was my transition into that world.
Okay. And then after that, is that when you start working with Twyla True?
Yes. And then I met Twyla True, and Twyla True collaborations came into play. Twyla really wanted to create a brand incubation business, which she did, which I was part of, really helping her evolve that, which was a celebrity brand incubation business where we partnered with talent, celebrities, athletes, and she would back the capital, and then we create these CPG brands with different talent. So what was great about that was like I really got to see, from me just obviously sourcing the talent, but also me seeing the full cycle, working with the team from product development to sourcing to, working with the talent to create these ideas that they had in their mind of how they wanted the product to look or feel. So I did that for about 5 years with Twyla.
Okay. And how did you meet?
For people who don't know that, it's a family office. It's an investment firm. So that's how I got connected. And I got connected through once again, it was online at the time, and I had met the team, and it was just a great connection and a great synergy.
I love it. Talk me through some of the products and how you find the right celebrity to match with the product. Because some people just don't realize that, a lot of influencers get those items for free. There's a lot of great minds like yourself behind it that are pairing the right person with the right product. Obviously you can't have, Michael Vick trying to sell dog food. There's, some good minds behind it. So talk me through that concept of how that's created.
Yeah. So initially what was great when I joined Twyla True Collaborations was that, the family office was known for CPG. So they understood the space very well. So sometimes we would have products that were already made. For example, like a men's grooming line that we partnered with Dan Bilzerian with, and he was able to custom create some of the things that he wanted. And then sometimes there'd be opportunities like we met Anthony Hopkins, and he really wanted to do a fragrance. So him and his wife would really like narrow down like the product, the what they wanted and the fragrance, and they were very hands-on. And then we had others that like, for example, Lindsay Arnold, who was on Dancing with the Stars, and she had her own jewelry collection, and she had, a beauty line. And so a lot of them got to create their own products and their own design and feel to it all. So it was very hands-on when I was at the brand incubator. That's how we usually worked with a lot of different talent. We didn't have brands ready to go right away. Most of the time it was us working with the talent to create it. Love it.
So literally from an idea concept and then to fruition at the end.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Okay. So you work with, did you do any marketing or work with the 1500 Sound Academy?
I worked with 1500 Sound Academy when I was at the family office. Had the best experience. They're so wonderful. I know that they're a big part of you guys and working with you guys. So I learned a lot about the music industry and what they're doing and how inspiring it is, to have Rance and James be part of the school and Twyla be so involved. It's a great platform for people like YIC and others who want to get into the industry.
Love it. So after working with Twyla, is that when you go to CreatorForce?
Yes. So after I left Twyla's, I met another founder investor who started ForceBrands, which is actually one of the largest executive search firms in the CPG space. And I had, met him and talked about the world I came from and really felt that there was a missing gap for brands to be represented with someone like myself who understood how to negotiate talent deals. A lot of the times brands get approached by talent agencies or management companies, and meaning talent agencies and management companies who represent celebrities, athletes, content creators, and they want to do partnerships with brands. But a lot of the time brands don't know how to do those deals. So essentially that's why CreatorForce was evolved, was I now represent a lot of different brands in the CPG space. If it's beauty, alcohol, beverage, food, wellness, lifestyle, and I help source talent for the brand, but then I also help them close out and negotiate the deals.
Love it. And when you do that, do you get compensated based on like a percentage on the deals? How does that work?
Yes. So what a brand pays CreatorForce to work with us. So we'll take a percentage of the overall deal, and also a retainer model to work with them on a monthly basis. So ideally, once we bring on the talent and the deal is closed, we get that percentage at the end of it.
Okay. Love it. Do you do any advising or consulting or work with music festivals?
We have not, but always open to discussing.
Okay.
You guys have one going on?
Yeah, well, we'll have to talk for sure. I love it. I love it. Talk me through a time where you kind of had a significant career crossroads, and how'd you navigate that?
Yeah. I think a lot of the time I would say, certainly when I was younger, and a lot of you who are students here now who we're talking to, I mean, you're still trying to figure out what you want to do in your life. You're not going to know right away what you're going to do. And I feel like one thing I've learned in my career is you're always going to be evolving. You're always going to be changing. So I think for me at the early stage of my career, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. So I took jobs that I didn't really love, but then I learned why I didn't love them, and moved into different direction to where my passion was, which was entertainment. For example, when I first got out of college, I took a commercial real estate job as an assistant, and then I ended up working in a recruiting agency for a little bit. But then recruiting taught me that, maybe I can recruit for talent because I like entertainment, and maybe it's not the real people, but it could be for like the talent space. And that got me in the direction of getting into casting. So I think it's a lot of things like that you learn at the beginning when you're just graduating and you're leaving college and you're trying to figure out what you want to do. So for me, it was just navigating what I didn't like and putting me in the direction of what was good for me.
It's so funny that you mentioned it. You see me smiling because I think it is so much easier to find what you don't like to lead you to what you do love and what you're passionate about, and I think your example is so important to follow, to try all of those different jobs, especially when you're young, especially when you're coming out of college. Explore it, figure out exactly what it is you like and what you don't like. And then that next thing, you're just making sure you're not doing that thing that you don't like. And it winds you down like a pinball machine to where you find exactly what it is you're passionate about, unless you come right out the gate and you're like, this is exactly what I want to do. And if you know what you want to do, chase it, and make that A dream. Don't have the BC backup plan. Just go full A and, you're going to get it. So I love that. Talk me through how important networking has been for your success.
I think networking is the key to success, sadly, in the world today. In general, I know that for me, it's been amazing. And in my career, I've needed to network to find any of my jobs sometimes, or even just, I would say, especially now in my career, where I'm more established and I've built my career, networking is so important for me because first off, my obviously connections for my business, but beyond that, I think it's just the people you meet, the people you learn from, the people you want to stay in touch with forever, because maybe one day you might no longer be at a company and you might want to connect with that person to see if they have opportunities for you. So I think in general, and you never know if that person might be good for a business partnership or a collaboration opportunity. So I just think in any job, networking is so important, and just maintaining a positive attitude and always staying positive with people. The world is relationship driven, so it's super important to always keep those relationships strong.
I could not agree with you more. And I think when you have real relationships, just like you said, there's nothing wrong with reaching out, going like, hey, I'm, at that crossroads, not sure what I'm going to jump into next. Do you have any opportunities? And I think another part is really supporting those who support you. And even, we talk about that when you have others that are in the same field, it's not competition.
Right.
There is something true about like really being your authentic self, helping somebody, but then giving an opportunity that, force of karma does come back. And then, you never know when they're going to have a job opportunity or something for you. Let's talk about your mentors in life. Who are your biggest mentors?
That's such a hard question for me, I think. I think my mom, obviously, she was a really hard worker her whole career. So knowing, me being a female in the career world and making it to where I'm at now, I think she really inspired me. She worked really hard. So my mom, of course. And I also think, gosh, that's such a hard question. A mentor. I think a lot of people I've worked with in my career. I mean, Twyla was a great example of another female founder and entrepreneur. And then I would say now who I'm working with currently, Josh Wan, who owns multiple companies and is an investor. I'm so inspired by him, and I enjoy learning from him and building this business with him. So I think a lot of that comes from, these people I've worked with who have helped me grow in my career. And they ended up being people that I worked directly with. And sometimes that just ends up being your mentors.
I love it too, how you kind of mentioned in different parts of your life. And that's just something I wanted to, highlight, is that you can have mentors very early on. Obviously, parents play a dynamic role, but educators and, your bosses and people that you work with. And a mentor is someone you can always call upon to just go, hey, what do you think of this idea? That's just very important, I think. Let me see. Every job obviously comes with challenges. Mm-hmm. Obviously you're passionate about brands and working with celebrities. What are some of the challenges that come with your job?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me there is that, working in a family office environment before here and now building a business currently, when you're put in a startup environment in the sense of building a business from scratch, if that's a CPG brand with a celebrity, or if that's building a brand incubation business, or if that's building an agency that represents brands, it takes a lot of work. And so the very beginning stages are always hard. But then when you start building more business and you see more return, it gets more exciting. But I think that has always been a challenge of sometimes you want to be comfortable, and being comfortable is going to a job where you're going to get ABC salary, or you're going to get this Monday 8 to 5, or specifically you might feel comfortable doing that. But sometimes when you take a little bit of a risk, you might see a higher reward. So I think my biggest challenge is that I love being comfortable, but then I know that sometimes I have to take that risk in that startup feel in that environment to know where it's going to go. So that for me. And then I think also a lot of people think that working in the celebrity talent space is like so glamorous and so amazing. And there's so many perks to it, 100%. But a lot of the time people don't know you're dealing with agents and managers who represent these talent most of the time. And they all have different personalities, and a lot of the time agencies just want to have a cash deal for their client, which their client meaning the talent. And you're not always on the same page with them about your budget or what you can do. So it's a lot of negotiation, which can be challenging at times when you just want to make a deal happen.
That's where that communication degree comes in handy. Obviously, and you're right. You're dealing with lots of different personalities, and there's lots of egos. And there's a lot of yes people that you got to cut through. And as you mentioned, budgets are budgets, and, obviously sometimes people don't see eye to eye. How do you balance personal and professional life? I'd imagine working in this industry, you're working on artist time. Do you set time for yourself, family? How does that work?
Yeah. For me, it's so important to have a balance in life. So I work very, very hard, but I think what helps me, and I'm a big advocate for this, is also like living a healthy lifestyle. So I make sure that every day, if I can, if it's working out and going to the gym or going to my workout class, like for that 1 hour, just to get my mental health feeling great about my day, it does help my energy. It helps my positivity when I'm on client calls. So I think health is super important for me. And I also have two boys that are twins, and they're 2.5, and I have a family. And, being a mom is so wonderful. And I want to, I know it's important to spend time with them on the weekends. I'm off, and I'm enjoying my children. I'm enjoying my family. And so I think it's important to always have that balance. Don't work too hard. Just know that as long as you do your work great, have that balance to live the life you still want to live,
Love it.
That's important.
Talk me through a mantra that you say daily.
I think sometimes I need to take a breath and like have a moment of silence, like of meditation. So for me, it's like, take a breath, just breathe in the air, look around you, just enjoy the day.
Love it. What projects are you most excited about working on currently?
Well, I'm working with a lot of really fun clients right now, in the beauty space, and also in a beverage space. And I think for me, it's sourcing the right talent for them. And a lot of these partnerships that I'm doing currently are collections. So, for example, I'm working with an energy drink, and they want to create a collection with a certain celebrity or talent. And what's great about that is the talent has a chance, like I did on the brand incubator side, to create their own flavor, create their own colors. So, sourcing to find the right person for that is a lot of fun. It's a great brand. And then I'm also working with a beauty brand that is doing a collection, and I'm sourcing the talent for them now, where eventually they'll want to build their own brand with that talent out on a bigger scale. So I think for me, it's that, and just, attending things like this with you guys, and sharing more about my career in the entertainment space, and being just helpful for people in general if they have questions about the talent space or the deals and things like that. I think that's the most fun part of my job too, is just talking to new founders who have brands and they're growing and they're just ready for those next steps.
Okay. Speaking of an energy drink, obviously Prime is they got a UFC deal. The fact that the Lakers picked him up as an energy, is there a firm working behind them, or is that just a Logan Paul who's an influencer and doing what he's doing? How does a brand like that take over like the Lakers? And
yeah. Well, that's such a great question. I'm pretty sure that Prime got bought by a larger corporation. So that larger corporation now fully owns Prime. So it's no longer, I think, an individual, when it was just Logan Paul and his other capital partners. So I think when you get onto that larger scale, and obviously his brand does really well, there's all these opportunities that come to play. So I'm sure working with the larger corporate side of it, that's how those partnerships evolved.
Is that like a Coca-Cola or somebody on that magnitude?
I know exactly. It's Congo Brands. So Congo Brands owns Prime. So they own a bunch of other brands as well. But that one in particular is owned by Congo. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. How do you avoid burnout? Is that exercise and the gym once an hour, you'd say?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, and just having my weekends to enjoy my time. Okay. And then also, obviously, vacation. Everyone needs to go on vacation when you can.
Amen.
So I love to travel and see the world.
Okay. What would be the biggest piece of advice you would give to your younger self? If you could talk to your, like coming out of college, even younger, you tell me, what would that nugget of advice be?
I think I think my biggest advice would be that don't stress so much. I think when I was young, I was stressed about not loving my job or not doing what I wanted to be doing. And it gave me a lot of anxiety and stress. So I think if I had to tell my younger self what would be important, it's don't stress so much. Just enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey.
Journey is always so much more important than the end. And you can obviously see from your journey, all of it has impacted each step in the ladder to your success. So I love it. Let's open it up to some questions from the crew here. Presley, I see the first hand. Go for it.
Hello, Daniella. I have one question for you. I know you said you worked on reality shows such as the original Kardashian series and The Bachelor. Reality is like quite different to like scripted television because it's reality shows are like non-scripted. Give me like one secret fact on how reality shows work.
Great question. I definitely didn't work on the Kardashians, but I was part of that team. I will say that. And I was a contestant on The Bachelor, so I learned a lot from that as well. But I think to your question, I think sometimes, especially I can be honest about the Bachelor side of it, it is real. A lot of it. I think a lot of people always ask that question, is it fake or is it scripted? It's definitely not scripted. Reality TV is true people who go on a show and they experience what they experience. A lot of what people don't know is that behind scenes, there's a ton of producers that are mapping out like different episodes and what they want them to put them in these certain situations so that maybe they'll react in a certain way. So it is very produced. That's the one thing the contestants on the show don't realize how produced it is, but behind scenes, there's a lot of producers creating a lot of magic to make that show good. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, when I want to go back for a sec, when you said about mapping out, do like producers say that they like do like mapping out like which episode they plan on when they like edit it together?
Correct. Like, for example, episode 1, if it's on The Bachelor, for example, you have the very first rose ceremony and people coming out of the limo and, what are people going to be saying? Are they going to be doing weird handshakes or are they going to show up in a costume? Things like that they talk about before the contestants go out. So I think it's a lot of the producers behind scenes creating each episode, if it's, a competition show or if it's, a love show, like Love is Blind or something, there is a lot of the producers talking about how they're going to put people in different situations, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's obviously, as Daniella can tell us, the casting is very important too. They know who they're kind of picking and how they're going to maybe possibly interact. Daniella, is it correct that, reality, they're not allowed to, tell you what to do? Reality is still reality television?
Correct. I mean, I think any reality TV show, they can put you in a situation, but the way your personality comes out, the things you say, it is not scripted. It is that person being that person.
Yeah. That's we had a guest speaker a while back who worked with the Jersey Shore, and she just basically said, no, they were all really crazy when we brought them in, and we knew that bringing all them crazies together, we would get crazy television, and the rest is history right there. Eitan, I saw your hand up. Go for it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being on this call. It's awesome. It's a lot of great insight, so I appreciate that. How do you balance like downtime, hiatus, when there aren't shoots, when there aren't activities going on? What does that look like for you? What's a good strategy for our team here to consider?
And are you saying like with career and balancing that. Or
Yes.
is that what you mean? Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just to think about what your passions are. And if that's a hobby, if that's something you love to do on the weekends or even like before or after work, having something you're excited about, like as you are pursuing your career and doing what you do, having that time for you to like enjoy the things you love away from work is so healthy. So I think for me, that's, being, working out and doing my workout class and hanging out with my family on the weekends or traveling when I can. All those things I think help put that balance into perspective, because then you're still going to work and doing what you want to do, but you're living your life to the fullest, right? I think, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. And Daniel Parr, I saw your hand up.
Like as a person that was aspiring for like screenwriting and animation, what tips or advice can you give me on that?
Yeah, well, first off, it's great that you already know what you want to do. So I think the biggest thing for you is, I think at this point, what age are you guys all currently in school? Just so I know
You've got everything in here from 20 to about 30.
Okay. So I think the biggest thing is, if you could, I think, Daniel, for you, going back to your question, would be maybe think of your dream companies you want to work at in the animation space, or if it's just screenwriting on the side, and then go after them and apply, even if it's an entry level job or even if it's an internship, just to get in there and network and meet people and let them know this is what you want to be doing. So I think that's super important, is kind of mapping out for yourself, where are the dream places I want to work. And maybe that's doing a little bit of research of like, this place is a production house that does like only comedy screenwriting, or this is the animation studio that does all the animation that I love. And I always say, reach for the stars, because rejection will always happen, and it will always happen, especially at the beginning of your career too, where you're always going to get no's, but you'll definitely get a yes. And when you get the yes, just go for it, right? And it will take you to the next. So I think that's the biggest thing I could say, is put that roadmap together on like, where are the dream places you want to be.
Perfect. I love it. Real quickly, speaking of rejection, how often do you get rejected? I loved how you mentioned rejection is going to come no matter what, but for all the no's, you get that yes. How often do you deal with rejection with, maybe somebody going, yeah, not the brand I want to be working with? I know you talked about a lot of times it's that person coming to you and creating it from the beginning, but do you ever pitch a brand to somebody and they're just like, nah, nope? Or there's that, those difficult people that work with the client, like you mentioned, who are telling them, no, that's not good for your image or brand?
Yeah, I get no's every day. So I think that's, especially being in more of a sales business development role where you're constantly networking and meeting people, you're always pitching your service. So for me, there's a lot of brands out there who maybe don't want to bring on a celebrity or a talent to their brand. So I get a lot of no's on a daily basis. But then when you find the ones who that say yes and are excited about it, that gets me excited, so sadly, anyone who wants to get into business development on the entertainment side, you're going to see a lot of no's. It's just when you see the yeses, it's exciting. So it's just, you just go with the yes.
Got to get through all the no's to get to the yes. That's how it is, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Danielle, I want to thank you so much for your time. You are fantastic, very intelligent. You know exactly what you're talking about. I do love how you kind of, like I mentioned before, figured out what you didn't like to lead you into what you do like. That every job kind of did piggyback off of each one to kind of make you so well-rounded and have so many tools in the tool belt, so to speak. Just want to wish you continued success in your journey and your career.
As we conclude another enriching episode, we hope you found inspiration in the stories shared today. Let's take a moment to honor Yes I Can's role in bringing Breaking the Biz to life. Yes I Can's commitment to empowering young people with disabilities through education, advocacy, and mentorship shines brightly, paving paths of opportunity and dialogue. This podcast celebrates the organization's dedication to nurturing talent and facilitating impactful discussions. Breaking the Biz is more than a podcast. It's a part of Yes I Can's broader mission to amplify voices, dismantle barriers, and craft a world that's more inclusive and accessible for everyone. Each episode is a chapter in our shared narrative of progress, education, and empowerment, driven by the spirit of Yes I Can. Thank you for spending your time with us on Breaking the Biz. Continue to challenge the status quo and share stories that resonate. Until our paths cross again, let's keep transforming aspirations into achievements and infuse every endeavor with optimism. Here's to advancing the landscape of the entertainment industry, one episode at a time. I'm your host, William Felber. See you next time.